He was earlier this year appointed to Deputy Majority Whip, and recently he was appointed as Vice Chair for Rulemaking Oversight and Appeals Subcommittee. So with that, I wanted to introduce District 27 and one of Volusia County's own, Representative David Santiago.
As a local official in Daytona, I spoke about it often, and we need to take it down. And we said, why don't we try to bring the business sector together? Why don't we try to bring local officials, county together and say, hey, let's talk about this as a group and find ways to separate our division and needs and think of the county as a whole. Because I think as a whole, we will all rise together and benefit greatly in Tallahassee. But before I go on to that, I just want to recognize just a few people. I kind of started thinking, I got a smile on my face, but I want to recognize a few individuals, and then I'll announce who's going to be speaking today and what about. But we got some great speakers here today, so we thought about, let's bring people that have the stakeholders here. The stakeholders in the county, businesses, and government also. But more importantly, we also have some key people from the state here. Director Panuccio, and I'm going to introduce him in a minute. He's here today from the Department of Economic Opportunity. I believe it's huge. I told him earlier this morning that I want for him and Enterprise Florida, we have representatives from Enterprise Florida here also, I want them, when they meet with that next big corporation, whether it's an Amazon, a GE, a Ford, well, just countless names, right? And they say they want to come to Florida. I want Volusia County to be at the top 3 list. And I want to highlight to you all saying Volusia County can get its act together, can bring the businesses together, can bring the cities and counties, and regardless of where it goes in Volusia County, we'll all rise and it'll benefit us all. I also want to recognize some of the successes that we're having in our county. I know Eric mentioned International Speedway Corporation. Cheryl's back there. Her and I talked quite a bit during the last session. But you have a corporation here in our backyard that $600 million are going to be invested here in Volusia County between both projects. That's huge. We have to, it's important, to business, but we have to thank them for bringing that investment here to Volusia County, because as many of you know, they have 12 tracks. This money could have gone to many locations, and if you remember back when we were going for the Hall of Fame, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, we were in that battle right to the end, right? But it went elsewhere. But now we got them to bring the investment here, so thank the Speedway for that. Also want to thank the city of Daytona. Did a great job mooring the Hard Rock Hotel, working with the county and the economic development folks. That's huge to bring a Hard Rock, right? That's a catalyst for other things that happen, and people talk about they want to stay at the Hard Rock, so thank you for that. And I also want to recognize the manufacturing sector. I know we have Jane Pfeiffer here. She's going to speak today. Since I got elected, the manufacturing, I've been on that manufacturing train right from the beginning, and I'll tell you why. You read the newspapers or you watch news every so often, and maybe every week you hear about a new company trying to come back to Florida. I'm happy to say that America is building again. I believe in that. And how do we, my goal here is how do we best position Volusia County to benefit from that America is building again. And between that, working with the Volusia Manufacturing Association, working with Daytona State College, working with our high schools now, I've dove in and started working with our school board members to figure out how do we highlight Volusia County to be able to sustain the workforce, because that's going to be key, right, Jane? Is a big manufacturer won't come here unless we can prove to them that we can sustain the workforce that they have. So I'll be talking about that more details in the near future to highlight some ideas and projects that my office, along with others, are working on. So how do we best position ourselves? So I'm excited about that. And I'll leave you with this piece before I introduce our first speaker. I recently had the opportunity to tour the film and TV industry out in South Florida. Woo! And that, I have to tell you, is a huge market that Volusia County needs to tap into. It's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that are being spent in our state, but Volusia County is not benefiting from it. We have the capabilities of benefiting here for that, and I'll be working with some of the film industry folks on figuring out ways so that we can either change legislation, change policies, change incentive policies. I believe that's the key. I spoke with the chairwoman of that committee because they're trying to get more money allocated for the film industry side of things. And the comment that I made to her is, how do you get representatives that are throughout the state saying, what's in it for me and my community, right? Because a lot of that money currently is going to South Florida and maybe a little bit of West Florida. And I want to go back to my constituents and say, we made this policy because we now have a better potential to bring some of those dollars here to Volusia County. So there's some incentives in there that I want to tweak that make Volusia County more lucrative for these hundreds of millions of dollars that are being spent elsewhere to come here to Volusia County. So keep an eye out for those things like that in the future. But thank you everyone for coming. I didn't expect this much attention, I'll be honest with you. I was a little bit worried and happy about the attention because you want to make sure it turns out successful. But I'll leave you with this. This is not the silver bullet to taking down the Palmetto Curtain. I want to make that clear. It's going to take you all business leaders, our community leaders, you all have to, when the time comes to decide whether it's good for the county or just good for me, please think of the county. And as you can see here, I had the banner made up, right? I want to start talking about one Volusia now. Not East Volusia, not West Volusia, one Volusia, because we're all going to benefit by having that mindset. And we have great agencies in here. Let's channel them to think of that mindset too. All of Volusia can benefit from this. All right, without further ado, I want to introduce our first speaker. I am super excited that you're here. They've been very busy lately talking about what's happening economically in our state. And I think we're going to be one of the first in the state to hear some of this latest data that's coming out that's very positive that's occurring in our state. And my friend now, I had the opportunity to talk to him on a bus tour. Actually, we were in that film tour together. But I'll let him come up. Director Panuccio, please join us with the Operating Economic Opportunity. Thank you.